Hello all, this is Rakesh Kumar Manne and we are going to continue normal radiographic anatomy of the jaws, under which we are going to discuss about normal landmarks of mandible. Again, under normal landmarks of the mandible, we are going to discuss about radiolucent structures and radio-opaque structures. Coming down to radiolucent structures, the very first image is lingual foramen. It is usually foramen on the lingual surface of the midline of the mandible. Often we see two or even more such foramens. The superior foramen contains neurovascular bundles from lingual arteries and nerves, and the inferior foramen is supplied from the sublingual arteries and from mylohyoid nerves. On a radiographs, these superior and the inferior foramens, they together appear as an single round radiolucent canal with well-defined borders lining in the midline below the apex of the incisors. The second image is nutrient canals. Nutrient canals carry a neurovascular bundle. It appears as an radiolucent lines of fairly uniform width. They appear on mandibular periapical radiographs running vertically from the inferior dental canal directed to the apex of a tooth, and on an anterior IOPS they appear as an interdental space between the mandibular incisors. The third image seen on the slide is mental foramen. Mental foramen usually limits the anterior part of inferior dental canal, and that is usually seen on periapical radiographs. It is identified only about half the time because the opening of the mental foramen is directed superiorly and posteriorly. Of course, it has an variable appearances, although wall of a foramen is of cortical bone or it corticated. As shown with both the images, the appearance of mental foramen is varying. Usually it is seen at the apex of second premolar, and it is about halfway between the lower border of the mandible and the crest of the alveolar process. The next normal landmark is mandibular canal. As shown with a white arrow, mandibular canal appears as a dark linear shadow with thin radio-opaque superior and inferior borders. Sometimes these borders are partially and sometimes they are not at all seen. The canal course may be well seen between the mandibular foramen and the mental foramen. The relation between the mandibular canal to the roots of the lower tooth may vary. Sometimes mandibular canal is in contact with the apex of molars, and sometimes there is a space or a distance between the tooth and the canal. The next normal landmark is submandibular fossa. Submandibular fossa on a lingual surface of a mandibular body just below the mylohyoid ridge in the molar region. There is a depression in the bone, we call it as in submandibular fossa. This fossa accommodates submandibular salivary gland, and this appears as a radiolucent lesion as shown within white arrows. This submandibular fossa shouldn't be confused with normal other anatomical landmarks or with periapical lesions. Coming down to radio-opaque structures, the very first slide is genial tubercle. It is also called as an mental spine, that is well appreciated with the second slide with a white arrow. It is located on the lingual surface of the mandible, slightly above inferior border and in the midline of the mandible. It is a spine-shaped bony prominence as shown in the second image. It is divided into right and left prominence and superior and inferior prominence. Usually this right and left prominence and superior and inferior prominence may not be well appreciated on radiographs. This genial tubercle serves to attach genioglossus and geniohyoid muscles. The next normal landmark is mental ridge. As shown in the third image, this is seen as two radio-opaque lines bilaterally on a radiographs of the mandibular central incisors as shown within black arrows. They vary in width and density, and these lesions shouldn't be confused with any pathologies. Coming down to his next normal anatomical landmark, mylohyoid ridge. Mylohyoid ridge is irregular crest of bone seen on the lingual surface of the mandibular body. It extends from the third molar region to the chin region of the mandible. This is seen for the attachment of mylohyoid muscle. The next normal landmark is oblique ridge, which is shown within black arrows. It is continuation of an anterior border of the mandibular ramus. This is prominent in its upper part and is placed on the outer surface of the mandible in the third molar region. This particular oblique ridge is a line of attachment of buccinator muscle. The next anatomical landmark of the mandible is inferior border of the mandible as shown within black arrows. This inferior border of the mandible is rarely seen on an IOPA films because the film can't be placed deep till the lower border of the mandible. If it is seen by chance, it appears as dense, broad radio-opaque band of bone. The next normal anatomical landmark of the mandible is coronoid process of the mandible as seen in the lower image with the black arrows. This coronoid process of a mandible is frequently seen on IOPS of maxillary molars, not within mandibular IOPS. This appears as an triangular radio-opaque region with apex directing superiorly. This coronoid process usually appears homogeneous with or without trabeculation. Other than the normal anatomical structures, we see some of the restorative materials used in dentistry, and we'll discuss how they appear on a intraoral periapical radiographs. The first one is silver amalgam filling as shown within black arrows. Silver amalgam filling appears completely radio opaque or white. Coming down to the second image, that is a metal bridge. This metal bridge can be stainless steel crowns or gold crowns. Both stainless steel and gold crowns appears completely radio opaque because of its density. Then the third image is base under a filling. Usually calcium hydroxide base is given, and this calcium hydroxide base appears radio opaque, that is white. The lower row, the first image is stainless steel pin restorations. The stainless steel pin restorations as the pins are seen with a black arrow appears completely radio opaque. Then the next image is GP points. These Gatta Pacha points appears completely radio opaque, and the last image which shows silver points, again silver points shows completely radio opaque density. But the densities between the GP points and silver points varies. The silver points appears completely radio opaque when compared with the GP points. With this, we come to an end of our topic, normal anatomical structures of jaws. Thank you.